What is going on? I'm ZMOT. We are on the private server that is the Boom Beach dev build. Not a hacked APK. You can't download it every single time someone asks, but you can tell that it's not the real game because code ZMOT does not work. Give code ZMOT a shot in the regular game. We are going to boost up right now because we've got some goodness coming. Now, did you know that you only have to actually open one cloud to get the Joker crab? Yes, I almost guarantee no one has ever done that before on the real game, but if you want to get the Joker crab or any other crab, it's just one cloud. Now, I am going to be showing you all of the boosts that come with the Joker crab, but first the important detail. You guessed it, Rudy is going to be available for this Mega Crab. Now, the Mega Crab runs until March 30th. You need 10 clues to unlock Ruderro. Most of you, like me, are on 7 clues on March 26th, 8 on 27, 9 on 28, 10 on March 29th. So you will have the ability, or should be able to have the ability, I should say, don't quote me please, to use Rudy on this crab. Now, rather than give you a graphic with all the boosts, we're just going to do it live. And we're going to start with stage 10 using heavies. As you saw there, we get 200% heavy health, and now you probably, it might be worth waiting, to be completely honest, to get to the very end and have Ruderro come. So maybe you don't want to use any of your stages or any of your attacks until you have Ruderro. That is going to be up to you, but for right now, we are going to go 3 times mode with our heavy health. Now, heavy health is not quite as much fun as heavy damage, but as you can see, it's still a little bit of fun. And as that ticks over to stage number 11, by the way, we're getting crystal clitters for every single stage. Joke's on you. One of the hardest words to say in the entire Boom Beach vocabulary. And then next up, Rifleman damage, which is also very fun. And that, of course, is going to range from level 11 up to level 20. So I figured without scouting, let's just jump in and get those rifles going. Now, this is a great opportunity to use Ruderro because we have one of the downsides to Ruderro is he does not clear mines. But on this Joker crab, we not only have the crystal clitters, but we also have cryo bombs. And cryo bombs are a fantastic way to clear mines, as are those green crawling dudes. And we are going to have some problems with things like flotsams, of course, because they are going to kill many of our rifles. But we should still be, you know what, let's just get away from these things because they're just going to cause us too many problems. And then we're just going to use smoke and walk all the way back here. And using Ruderro is going to have its own challenges because obviously he moves fairly quickly and doesn't have to worry about mines and all of the rest of the details. But as we get our medkits in here and try to keep our rifle dudes alive and drop some shocks and some smokes and some 3 times mode, should be able to get onto that. Oh, we didn't. I failed in a giant fashion. That's kind of okay, actually. So we're just going to speed through this, and we should have used our GBE very early on to clear that shield gen, but we didn't. So sending rifles back and not scouting and not planning, not super duper conducive to winning, but it's too late. I've already attacked. We can't change to his other ability. I feel like the bombing run would be very fun on the Mega Crab. We are definitely going to include that later on, but now we just need to do our old-fashioned seesaw. When you're trying to use rifles to get where you want to go, I highly recommend using a seesaw flare, if that makes any sense at all. You will get your troops to bunch up a little bit better, and we're going to do the exact same thing here. We're going to get a little bit of seesaw flaring out there. We're going to throw a shock, and we're going to get some of his wingmen out front to try to keep him alive. And now shock launchers definitely need to be dealt with because otherwise shock launchers don't see any of the wingmen, so need to be a little bit careful with that. Also, lasers obviously shoot through things, so 3 times mode with rifles, you can do better than that. And by the way, I would highly, highly recommend using each of the troops that are defined by the Joker Crab. I'm going to have a bunch of fun with that. For example, that next one is Warrior Speed 200%. So you get 3 times mode and you have 200%. So jumping in with Warrior dudes and the wrong hero. I don't think Rudy is the right hero at all for these troop, or this troop I should say, but we're gonna do it anyways because why the heck not? 200% warrior speed is going to be very, very, very fast, I do think. On the plus side, I think this is one of the few times that Rudy will actually be able to keep up, maybe. I need to get some smokes out. Smoking troops, when they are a fast troop to start with, and then you're adding 200% speed, is going to be a bit of a craziness, but craziness is our middle name, so we're going to get all of those guys out. They are probably going to spread in every single which way, and we're just going to clear all of the mines and get all of the cryo bombs popped and get rid of all of the shock launchers, and now just shocking as all, you know what? Let's just get over here. We don't need to deal with any of this stuff. Let's just get onto that final. And you know what? Let's get a little bit of healing here from our green dudes. Warriors 200% speed is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to do this on the real game. And that's only going to be stages 21 to 30, of course. Moving forwards onto stage 31 is, of course, Bombardier speed. Now, you probably want to have Kevy Kavan in on this one because speed up Bombardiers are not going to be doing too good at staying alive, so we're just going to spread them out all the way across here, get some second wind rifles, and just watch the magic happen. So these guys shooting quickly, moving quickly are going to be a complete and utter pain to stay alive. You're probably going to want to mix them with some mechs or some scorchers or something, but we are just going to go at 6 times mode, and every single time Kavan has the option, we're going to click that pink button to get some extra troops and see if we can't just solo this at 600% speed. So Bombardiers at 200% speed. I don't really know how that's going to work as far as if they're shooting fast or moving fast, or if people are actually going to go all Bombardiers. But that is the boost, and you see we've still got those crystal clitters that are mixing up with our dudes and need to keep moving forwards to stage 41 to 50, which is going to be Zooka damage. Thankfully not Zooka speed, and I think it used to be on the 9s or the 0s, but now it's stage 1 to 0. So 41 to 50 is going to be Zooka damage, and crystal clitters are still a factor. We are going to send our troops to that very, very back section, and didn't check the health on that, which I definitely should have, but we're just going to go something like this and like this, and then just dropping all of our troops side to side, losing a couple to those sniper towers, but really not caring too much quite yet because we don't worry about getting our troops into position quite yet. Once we get into range of those mortars and rocket launchers, need to pay a little bit more attention. And now that we're in a general straight line, we're just going to start walking. And that walk is going to be a little bit of a long walk with bullet, but we don't have brick because, of course, we've got that extra damage already. So with brick would probably be even better. Yes, I said even, but we're going to try to get all of our dudes back there, and bullet is going to shock Knuckles, and it's going to be a little bit awkward here as far as what the heck I'm trying to plan, but I'm going to go something like this, and we're going to flare up to there, and then bullet's going to shock Knuckles eventually. Come on, bullet. And hopefully do something. There we go. There's the shock Knuckles we were after. And now bullet's getting out front, and we're getting a little bit more damage than what we were getting before. And bullet gets out front. All of the things are shocked, and now our Zookas are going to town on that headquarters. So bullet standing out front, getting shot in the face as many times as he can. We'll drop some crystal critters, and Zooka's just melting the core. So for those of you who have liked to use Zookas, stages 41 to 51 are the place for you. Moving forwards, yet again, as you probably guessed, there are a couple more boosts, and they start to get a bit more difficult at stage 51. Grenadier damage is not one that many people are super comfortable with, but we are going to give it a go, and I'm probably going to screw this up, so do be gentle, pretty please. We are going to, first of all, there are no critter launchers here, so Grenadiers should be able to do okay, and realistically, I probably should be using our good friend, what is it called? Mr. Kavan with these guys, but we're just going to do whatever the heck we can. Bullet's going to get out front, and with 200% damage, these guys can just chuck and destroy all of the things. You probably want to mix in some tanks or something, but what's the fun in that? We are just going to keep moving forwards with these guys and trying to get a solo in. Jeff style guy in our task force, Jeff and George, both long-timey Grenadier users. And this is definitely not the right stage for me to be using them because, as you can see here, they are just going to get crushed by all of those range defenses. Need all of the medkits we can possibly use. 3x mode is going to be the only savior for this hit, and you can see that just all Grenadiers did not work all that terribly well, especially with Mr. Bullet. So we're going to bring Kavan in, and I'm going to keep going to finish this base off, even if it takes me 27 attacks, which in theory it shouldn't. But Grenadiers, the first ones that are up for debate. I know a lot of players out there don't really like Grenadiers. I do quite like Grenadiers, but they do miss a lot, which makes some people fairly grumpy. And let's be honest, Bombardiers do a bit better as far as staying alive. So we're just going to drop these guys, and I am going to avoid going to 3x mode quite yet. Definitely need to get there at some point in the next little bit. And there we go. Let's get into 3x mode now that we've started to get some second wins out, and we're starting to get somewhat close to having our troops all die to those final buildings. So Grenadiers doing a decent job, but let's be honest, stages 51 to 60 is probably not the spot for these guys. I wish they would have switched so that Bombardiers were early on. Bombardiers were stages 50 plus, and Grenadiers were the early stages 31 to 40. But remember, this is the Joker crab, and so the joke's on you. Grenadiers probably not the right answer, but do consider mixing some in with your Bombardiers if you're using them, for example, just because of that extra range they have. If you've got something like, say, mechs out front, you're going to get some good value out of these guys. You might just have to get them a little bit of cover and or bring Kavan. So not doing a great job here and getting a little bit long in the tooth when it does come to using these guys, but and especially with the shields being way the heck over here, this is going to be a little bit of a problem, but we can drop some critters there, and a shock there, and a shock back there, and now these guys can just overchuck and give Kavan something to do as our game lags in a giant way. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not on your side, but on iOS, I think I'm on 18.4 release release candidate on the beta build, and my device just lags randomly in a big way, which frustrates me to no end. So don't recommend using iOS. Oh, and you see that hot pot or that boom surprise definitely made those troops slow down and hit all at the same time, which is a long-standing bug. Our troops, though, Grenadiers doing a halfway passable job at getting all of this stuff down as we get rid of that rocket launcher behind the core. And this is where they really do well. Let's be honest here. Their missing does a fantastic job to destroy some buildings. And now we have got 3 shields up, and that shield is like 400 million health or something like that, I'm quite sure of. 3x mode. Watching them miss can be so frustrating. If I had any GBE, I would flare them a bit closer, but we've managed to beat stage 51. Hooray. Just a reminder, in order to get that legendary trophy, you really only need to do 2 hits for every stage. So you probably could use Grenadiers and get through all these stages if you were a glutton for punishment. And for your final boosts, tank speed, the number one knock against tanks is that they're slow, and now you've got 200% tank speed. Now these tanks are going to be with you for the rest of the event. So if you've stopped using tanks for maybe you started using, say, mechs or scorchers or something like that, all of a sudden your tanks are going to be decently quick. Notice that they are hit by the cryo bomb, and that does not affect them in the slightest. They are moving so quickly, the cryo bomb is basically irrelevant. We're just going to keep dropping all of the critters. I am going to have to deal with that doom cannon back there, so let's just throw 3 barrages or 4 barrages on it so we don't have to think about it too much. And then again, using those yellow critters to clear all of the mines as we send our troops over. They also do a fairly decent job of distracting things, as you can see. Mr. Kavan having a rough time keeping all of our troops alive and well, but we're just going to move to this left-hand side. Send some more of those yellow critters out, and reminder that lasers do lock on until your troops die, so if you throw those early on enough, then you can get some good value out. And look at Kavan and the tanks. We have lost a total of 1 tank so far. Yes, they're all very, very, very low on health, but we have only lost 1 tank so far. So Kavan does not have 200% health or 200% speed, unfortunately, but he's doing a halfway decent job of keeping all of this stuff alive as I'm waiting desperately, trying to get a shock, because that couple set of boom cannons that are behind the core are doing a number on our troops. And then, of course, I flared back too soon, and so that 1 boom cannon is still up, and I don't have any GBE to do anything about it. Maybe our 1 artillery is going to be enough, and of course it's not. So that's going to be a giant, giant sad trombone. I am definitely not the best tank user. I have only recently been using them to get my boom pass missions done. By the way, this is a great way to get those boom pass missions done before the deadline. Dropping all of your tanks, flaring back to there, and then switching to that 3 times mode. And this is where some of those Grenadiers would probably be super, super, super useful, because you could do all of the missing and get rid of all of the things, but we'll just flare in and flare out and hope that we can clear all of that shield. You probably should use your GBE back here to get rid of some of those shields, but need to plan that a little bit better than I did with some critters on top maybe. Stage 61 down in 2. Ugly, unplanned, rushed hits, but this is a sneak peek. So use it to get your boosts, use it to get the temporary gunboat abilities, which don't change at all, and hopefully this has set you up for success on that Joker crab. But like I said, maybe you want to wait a little bit and get Ruderro involved just for the sheer fun of it. I don't know how useful he's going to be, but that being said, I did not try his bombing run, so let's just see if we can't get some bombing run action as a little bonus. And stage 63 seems like a pretty good opportunity for that. No, only that 1 rocket launcher behind the core, so what we are going to do is try and be a little bit sneaky here. What we're going to do is we're going to pop that, and we're going to pop those, and we're going to send Ruderro back over in this general vicinity, using a couple smokes, can gap him a little bit, and then just trying our darndest to keep him alive and send him back into that neighborhood. Don't get shot down. There we go. And that's all we needed to do so far, I think. And then we're just going to bombing run through all of this stuff. Don't need to worry. Oh, man. Not getting much goodness out of this. I was hoping he was just going to, like, crush everything, but he did not do a great job of crushing. So, with Rocket Choppas, again, another great troop that you can use. Let's just get the heck out of here. Didn't even touch on that. So, suddenly, with Dr. Ruddero there, this becomes a fairly strong strategy, I think. We're just going to do our side drop. This is going to cost a little bit more GBE than people are used to, probably. If you're using rocket choppas on the Mega Crab, it's going to be GBE fairly intensive. So do keep in mind that your statues for your regular Mega Crab stuff might just not work super duper well. And then we're just going to drop some critters to distract some stuff and get over into that neighborhood. And this is where Bombing Run is probably going to be able to do some form of good. He's going to be able to do a Bombing Run, clear some of those buildings behind the core, and then eventually, as long as he can stay alive and get a little bit more gunboat energy, come on. No, see, this is where definitely need to get all of those critters out there to distract some things, and Bombing Run just not really doing what I had hoped it to do. Just need to get back away from all that stuff now, and those critters, because they can't heal anything that's flying in the air, they're just going to stay put. So you can use them as standard stationary critters, and now that his bombing runs have done a halfway decent job, we've made a little hidey hole. So Ruderro does have some bonuses. It's going to take some thought process and planning to figure out how to use them, though. So with rocket choppas, obviously we don't care about ground mines if we're using rocket choppas, so that's where Ruderro's really going to shine. But without heavy choppas out front, definitely going to need some sort of a shield or free snipe, and you can see that they're clearing the shield but not doing it super quick. So hopefully this gave you some ideas, some thoughts, and Ruderro with rocket choppas will be very fun. And the fact that we managed to skip over all of these defenses, so you could probably solo stage 63 fairly easily with rocket choppas if you plan that, but I'm trying to mix all these things in and plan and think, and it's all happening off the back foot or whatever the heck that expression is. So bit of a mistake, bunch of mistakes by me, but bottom line, you probably won't have Bombing Run maxed unless you spend all sorts of your attack plans and gold and all the rest of it, but I know a bunch of you are going to do that anyways. So Ruderro, probably not the answer for this crab, but there are some fun things that you could be doing. So that is that. As always, thank you for coming in, liking, sharing, subscribing. More importantly, though, code ZMOT in all the sources and your comments. Let me know your comments. Are you going to wait for Ruderro? Are you going to use rocket choppas? Are you going to do stages 1 to 10 with heavies, 11 to 20 with rifles, 20 to 30 with warriors, 31 to 40 with bombardiers, 41 to 50 with Zookas, 51 to 60 with grenadiers, and then say 60 to 70 with tanks, and then after 70 you get those laser rangers or mechs or scorchers or whatever the heck you want to use. Also know, Season 73 has started on the dev build, so look for a sneak peek on that soon. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming in. Peace.